Golovkin versus Kell Brook is not as bad as Canelo versus Amir Khan. It's not. I really teared Canelo to pieces for taking that Khan fight. I will not be tearing Golovkin to pieces for taking this Brook fight. Now, straight away, there's going to be a whole heap of Canelo fans who are very angry at me. They're going to be accusing me of being a hypocrite. Well, I'm going to defend my position in just a moment. But firstly, I want to give a shout out to another channel here on YouTube, a young guy who did a video very similar to this earlier on today, and he's called Minimax Boxing. That's Minimax Boxing. Big shout out to him. Go check out his channel if you ain't seen it already. I'll leave a link on screen, an annotation link, and also a link in the description below, because he pretty much agrees with my position that this Golovkin-Brook fight is, well, from my perspective, it's a more understandable fight and potentially a more competitive fight. Okay, although that's contentious. What I will definitely stand by is it's a more understandable fight. Now, when Canelo fought Khan, Canelo had lots of options at 160 pounds. Loads of guys wanted to fight him at 160. Triple G wanted to fight him. Billy Joe Saunders, or who's the other guy at 160? Danny Jacobs. They both would have jumped at the opportunity to get a fight with Canelo. Nobody was running away from Canelo. He had loads of options at 160. He didn't have to take on Amir Khan at a 155 catch weight. Golovkin's situation is different. Nobody wants to fight Golovkin at 160. Nobody. Everybody's pretty much priced themselves out. Billy Joe pretty much priced himself out. Eubanks, more or less, has priced himself out. And seemingly the same with Danny Jacobs. So Golovkin had no options at 160 in terms of anybody with any type of market value at all. He could have fought another Dominic Wade. Would he really want to do that? I think fighting Kell Brook is better than fighting Dominic Wade, to be honest with you. So he had no options at 160. So straight away, it's a different situation than Canelo was in. Also, Kell Brook is much bigger than Amir Khan. Oh, yes, he is. Kell Brook is a career-long welterweight. He's not a guy like Khan who started off at lightweight. And Khan was a chinny lightweight. Kell Brook is not a chinny welterweight. So there again, the fragility is not there with Brook. Brook and Golovkin are much closer in size than Canelo and Khan are. Canelo got into the ring against Khan, and I'm telling you people, he was over 180 pounds. That's why he didn't want to step on the HBO scales. And I'm predicting, I might be wrong about this, but I'm predicting, because this fight will be on HBO, so I'm predicting, and you know, HBO do the on the night weights normally. They'll tell you what the fighters weigh on the night. I'm predicting that Kell Brook will be no more than 5 or 6 pounds lighter than Triple G on the night. I don't think the weight differential is going to be that much. Nowhere near as big as it was with Canelo Khan. So for all those reasons, I think this is a more understandable fight in terms of why Golovkin took it. And it's a fight where the weight differential is not as big and Kell Brook is not as fragile as Khan. Having said all that, to be fair though, I think Triple G is a lot more formidable in terms of his punching power and his offensive prowess than Canelo Alvarez. That has to be said. So that might negate some of the, it might negate the fact that these two guys are not too dissimilar in terms of size. Golovkin is the bigger guy, but he's not crazy bigger. He's a little bigger. Okay, well, I mean, he's a decent amount bigger, but it's nothing crazy like Khan and Canelo. So for those reasons, as I say, I don't think it's as bad as the Conor Canelo fight was. So, that's just my views on it. And in terms of the fight itself, I don't expect Kell Brook to win. I expect Kell Brook to get stopped. But Kell Brook is a high-level fighter. He does have skills. He might be able to hang in there and make it interesting for a little bit. Who knows? Kell Brook does spar big guys in the gym. And from what I've heard on the grapevine, Kell Brook beats up middleweights and even some super middleweights in the gym. Fairly decent level fighters. This is what I've heard. He's quite a handful. So, and at the end of the day, the reason why Kell Brook is taking this fight, well, we all know anyway. It's for the money. Because, and maybe for the glory too, but money has got to be a big part of it. And believe you me, people, Kell Brook is not in the least bit afraid yet. He's still over the moon that he's getting this type of payday. According to Dan Rafael and also Eddie Hearn, Kell Brook is getting the very deal which the Eubanks turned down. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Eubanks or Chris Eubank Jr. was going to get £3 million, I believe pounds, for fighting Golovkin. It might be dollars, but I believe it was pounds for facing Golovkin. Kell Brook was apparently going to be getting less than $1 million to fight Jesse Vargas, something like 800,000, 700,000, somewhere around there. So when Eddie Hearn told him, you can fight Golovkin for more than triple what you were going to get to fight Vargas, and obviously you'll get a lot more credit if you win this fight than you would beating Vargas, obviously Kell Brook couldn't turn it down. Far too much money to turn down. So that's the whole Kell Brook side of it. So he won't be in the least bit worried this far out. He'll just be thinking about all the stuff he can buy with this huge payday that he's about to get, by far the biggest payday so far in his career. So anyway, that's the Kell Brook side of it out of the way. In terms of Golovkin, as I say, there was nobody to fight at 160. Everybody priced themselves out. So he had to go outside his division to get a fight. Now, some people are going to say, and this is very justifiable and very understandable that they'll say this. Some people are going to say, why don't Golovkin, find somebody at super middleweight instead of finding somebody from two weight divisions smaller? Because you look at what Kell Brook is doing. He's moving up 2 weights. He's keeping his IBF welterweight title. He's just moving up 2 weights to fight at middleweight as a one-off. He can, if he wants to, go back down, win or lose against Golovkin, and continue being the IBF welterweight champion. So people are going to say, why didn't Golovkin do that? Why didn't he go up for a one-off fight at super middleweight and look for an opponent there instead? He could have done that. Fights like that have been offered to him. Fighters in different weight divisions have called him out. Erislandy Lara called him out at the weight division below, not welterweight, but only light middleweight. He's called Golovkin out relentlessly. Golovkin ain't wanted to take it. James DeGale said he would like to fight Golovkin. There have been several fighters, so that's definitely a fair criticism of Golovkin there. But in terms of his own weight division, nobody wants to fight him. So he was going to have to go outside of his weight division to get a fight, whether it was going to be upper division or down a division, or down 2 divisions in this case. That's what he was always going to have to do. So I'm going to make a more in-depth video talking about Golovkin and the other options he could have taken. All right, because I want to keep it 100% objective here. I don't just want to be letting Golovkin completely off the hook. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on Brook versus Golovkin, Golovkin versus Brook, however you want to phrase it. It's, to me, an understandable fight to a certain extent under the circumstances. Yeah, and definitely not as terrible as Canelo Khan, in my opinion. So drop your opinions in the comment section below, people. It's your boy Hatman, I'm out.